Do you recognize this song? You recognize that? It's from the television show called The Chosen. It's awesome. If you've not seen any episodes, go to YouTube, check it out. Last night, my wife Cindy and I watched the scene where Peter catches a boatload of fish after having fished all night. And the way the show The Chosen builds up to that moment, it's incredible. Well, after that's episode 4 in the first season, they interviewed the Jewish man who plays Peter. I don't believe that he's a Christian. And he said, there's a lot of information written about Peter. I could have done a lot of research about Peter, but instead, I'm letting my character develop as the real person Peter developed. I'm not reading ahead, so to speak. Well, I've read ahead, and I know the end of Peter's story. And I know that this week that we're honoring Christ's resurrection is the week also that Peter betrayed Jesus, denied him 3 times, and swore as he denied him. And the shame and the guilt that Peter felt is unimaginable for all of us. I don't know if you've ever been left out of anything before. I remember going into high school when we got consolidated. If you're watching this and you're from old MWA, I remember the first dance or party we had, I didn't get invited and I was crushed to be left out. Well, Peter, after he denied Jesus, by the way, I did get invited and I went. But Peter, having denied Christ, was clearly hiding. And we find in Mark 16, verse 5, when they entered the tomb, we're talking about the resurrection now of Jesus. When they entered the tomb, they saw a young man clothed in a white robe sitting on the right side. The women were shocked, but the angel said, "Don't be alarmed. You are looking for Jesus of Nazareth who was crucified. He isn't here. He is risen from the dead. Look at this. This is where his body had been laid. Now go tell his disciples, including Peter." So significant that in this gospel, Mark included that phrase, "Go tell the disciples and Peter." Because I think the insinuation was Peter, because he had denied Jesus, was no longer a disciple to people. But to Jesus, Peter was still a disciple. Go and tell the disciples and Peter. God had a plan for Peter's life, and we read about God's plan for Peter in the book of Acts and the letters that Peter wrote, 1st and 2nd Peter. This actor in The Chosen said, I'm not reading ahead. I want to let the person of Peter develop as he encounters Jesus. Well, that's an interesting approach, and I like that. The Chosen is just so engaging. Again, if you've not seen it, I urge you to do that. But if you've ever failed Jesus, this is the lesson today. If you've ever failed Jesus, you know what? Jesus has no intention of failing you. Go and tell and insert your name, and he'll call you back. That's just the nature of Jesus. That's his grace. So if you have ever failed Jesus, understand that Jesus has the last say over every one of your failures, and he accepts you. He comes looking for you. Don't give up if you've ever failed Jesus. Even as Jesus came out of the grave, he will resurrect you in your faith if you have failed Jesus. Hey, God bless you. I just wanted to share this on a Thursday. We're going to be celebrating Good Friday with a Passover Seder, and then, of course, Resurrection Sunday. We'll have a 9 o'clock service and a 10:30 service. Maybe you can join us at one of those. This is Pastor Jeff Barkley at Christ Community Church, Lawrence, Kansas. Want to wish you a great morning and rest of the day. Jesus is alive, and you cannot fail Jesus. He will call you back. walk on the water. Even when Peter took his eyes off Jesus, looked at the wind and the waves, and began to sink, Jesus lifted him back up, and they walked back to the boat together. God bless you.